So I've heard a lot of other YouTubers say that the Gen 1 games are not worth Nuzlocking, but I want to definitively find out for myself if that's really the case, and why. I start by picking Squirtle. It's my favourite Generation 1 starter and it learns Bubble at level 8. I do think that Bulbasaur is the better starter overall, but it doesn't get a stab attacking move until level 14, and Squirtle is a bit faster. Once I get Pokeballs, I catch Pidgey on Route 1 and head straight to Viridian Forest, catching Kakuna. I come back to Route 2 and then I get a guaranteed Rattata. I do this to improve my odds of catching a male Nidoran on Route 22. When playing a Nuzlocke, you can only catch the first Pokemon you come across in each location, unless you've already caught that Pokemon or one of its evolutions. This is known as Duplicate's Clause. If that's the case, you can keep getting encounters until you get one that you've not caught before. I can now no longer catch Rattata on Route 22, giving me around a 70% chance to catch a male Nidoran, but I end up with Spearow here anyway. I push on to Brock and even underleveled, Squirtle's Bubble quickly sweeps Brock's entire team. This is the advantage of getting a super effective stab move at level 8. No grinding is required and I can move on with little time wasted. This is a good opportunity to cover the remaining rules of my Hardcore Nuzlocke. If a Pokemon faints, it's considered dead and I can't use it again, and if I lose a battle, the run is over. I will be playing the entire game on set mode, meaning I can't switch out when I knock out an opponent's Pokemon. I can't use items in battle, and I have a level cap set to the level of the next gym leader's ace. Finally, I will be using rare candies in this run. This just lets me skip grinding, and means that playthroughs take considerably less time. On Route 3, Kakuna evolves into Beedrill, and I catch a Jigglypuff in the tall grass. Next is Mount Moon, and I catch a Geodude here, and then catch Ekans on Route 4. Just before the Rival 2 fight, Squirtle evolves into Wartortle. The Rival 2 fight starts strongly, with Geodude missing back-to-back rock throws. I still do not understand why Rock Throw only has 65% accuracy in Gen 1. Pidgeotto then decides to add insult to injury by using Sand Attack, as if that's needed. I switch to Jigglypuff to try and put Pidgeotto to sleep, but with another Sand Attack, it misses. So back to Geodude I go, and I miss another Rock Throw. Thankfully Pidgeotto can barely do any damage, and on the 4th attempt we finally hit it. Maybe we should have just used Tackle from the start. On to Abra next, which is no threat due to only knowing Teleport, so I switch to Rattata. With its powerful Hyper Fang, we sweep through the rest of the rival's team, taking some damage in the process, but not enough to be concerned about. Before battling Misty, Rattata, Spearow and Pidgey all evolve. Raticate is an amazing early game Pokemon in later generations, with Guts and Stab Hyper Fang, but even without Guts in Generation 1, Raticate is still fantastic, and that's on show here against Misty. We miss our first Hyper Fang, but this makes no difference, as for some reason Misty decides to only use Tackle. This continues on to Starmie as Misty continues to use Tackle, and Raticate sweeps our entire team with Hyper Fang and a final Quick Attack. Quickly catching up on encounters, I miss Mankey on Route 5 and Abra on Route 24, but I do catch Oddish on Route 25, Mankey on Route 6, and Drowsy on Route 11. On to Rival 3, and a common theme occurs where Rock Throw misses and then misses again. I then get hit by Sand Attack, but even with this, I do manage to hit Rock Throw on the 3rd attempt, and it's a one-hit KO this time. I switch to Fearow and then back to Geodude to clear the accuracy drop. I finally start hitting Rock Throws and take down Raticate. I don't want to risk missing any more attacks, so I switch to my own Raticate, who easily takes down the frail Kadabra, and Fearow takes out the rival's Ivysaur with super effective Pecks. I catch Diglett in Diglett's cave, and then immediately lose it to a critical hit slash from a Sandshrew. This is the first death of my run. Losing Diglett is a bit annoying for the fight against Lieutenant Surge, but having Geodude means that I probably won't notice the difference. I lead Raticate into the fight knowing Voltorb's Sonic Boom will always do 20 damage, including to Geodude. Pikachu can still hit us with Quick Attack, and if Geodude's health is too low, then we need to switch out to save Geodude for Raichu. Pikachu doesn't even attack us, and Geodude knocks it in one hit. It's then just a matter of time before his ace Raichu gets knocked out too. Surge's team is basically useless against ground types, and his ace Raichu only knows electric type attacking moves, meaning it can't even damage Geodude. I'm now in Celadon City, and I had a very smooth run through Rock Tunnel on Route 8. I decide to look for a guaranteed Growlithe on Route 7, but I make a fatal error. I forget to heal at the Celadon Pokemon Center, and I don't notice Drowsy's low health. Mankey hits us with a crit Karate Chop, and that's the end of Drowsy. I do eventually catch a Growlithe here, but it came with a cost. Against Erica, I lead with Growlithe, but Ember totally sucks. Growlithe won't get another fire move until level 50 when it learns Flamethrower, so we're stuck with Ember for the long run. Erica kindly uses Poison Wrap strats on us, one of the most frustrating things in Generation 1, as we take lots of damage and can't deal any back ourselves. Thankfully we can switch out of Wrap though, so I go to Fear Fearow and finish off Victory Bell with Peck, and then follow that up by knocking out Tangela. Vileplume puts Fearow to sleep and it hits it with Petal Dance. I don't want to risk a crit with Fearow's low health, so I switched it into Gloom. Vileplume then just goes for Poison Powder over and over again because Gloom is part Grass type and the AI thinks Poison Powder is super effective. It can't poison Gloom though because its other type is Poison. Even with the Super Potion, it's only a matter of time before Cut will knock out Vileplume. With that, we are now at 4 badges down and halfway through the Kanto Gym Leader Challenge. The first Giovanni battle starts very smoothly, with War Turtle and Water Gun taking down Onyx in one hit, and then onto Rhyhorn, the exact same thing happens. Kangaskhan is a problem though. Water Gun is doing no damage. I switched to Bite, but Kangaskhan gets locked into Rage. Rage is going to keep rising in power, and if I don't finish it quickly, it's going to get out of hand. I switch to Fearow here and make a costly error. I pick Fury Attack for some reason. I get lucky with a 5-turn attack, but you'll notice every time I hit Kangaskhan, his attack is rising because of Rage. Fortunately, Rage doesn't knock Fearow out, and we somehow get through the battle with no casualties. I head to Pokemon Tower now for the 4th rival battle. At this point, he's no match for my team. Of course, I missed the first rock throw again against Pidgeotto, but I do manage to hit it the second time round, knocking it out. I don't have an answer for Gyarados at the moment, so I send out Fearow and it's able to take it out fairly well. Fearow in this run is basically the Pokemon I go to when I have no other good options, and it's definitely the MVP so far. Fearow then sweeps through the rest of the rivals team with Fly. Whilst I'm in Pokemon Tower, I pick up a Ghastly and I finally catch a male Nidoran in the Safari Zone. The rival has done some quick leveling here, and he's now actually a fair matchup for my team. Gravelore's rock throw hits for the first time. I'm glad we had all the bad luck out the way earlier. Again against Gyarados, we have absolutely no answer. Fearow has Drill Peck now, but it's still a 3-hit KO, and we barely hang on against a Hydro Pump. I switch to Blastoise, and Growlithe can barely scratch it. An easy Surf here takes it out. I use Bite against Alakazam. I'm not sure if Surf would have done more damage here, as Alakazam has very high special and a low defense. I end up having to switch out to Raticate. It tanks a Side Beam, and a Quick Attack is enough to knock out the Alakazam. The rival only has Venusaur left, and I switch to Growlithe. You can see just how little Ember is doing. I do get a lucky burn here though, which helps out a lot. Venusaur using Poison Powder, but Growlithe manages to tickle it to death with weak embers and the lucky burn. This time against Giovanni, I'm not messing around. Drill Peck doesn't quite knock out Nidorino, but it uses Poison Sting and we dodge the poison. The pesky Kangaskhan comes out next, and I go straight to Drill Peck. It uses Rage, as if baiting me into Fury Attack again. But I go for Drill Peck, and we get through it unscathed. Rhyhorn can't do anything to Blastoise, and Nidoqueen comes out next. Again, no issue for Blastoise. I get a crit here with Surf, but I don't think it mattered. Super effective stab Surf is very strong. We're now entering the part of the game where it speeds up, and we'll be running through the gyms in quick succession. So let's go fight Koga now. At this point, I've switched out Gloom from my team for Ghastly, which is now a Haunter, and I teach it the Psychic TM from Saffron City. All of Koga's Pokemon are 1-hit KO with Psychic, except for his Weezing. Weezing does no self-destruct, but it can't hit Haunter, so no need to worry about that, and a second Psychic is enough to finish it off. I made sure not to get too close to the level cap for Koga, which is 43. The reason being that Sabrina's level cap is also 43. I head straight to our gym next, and I expect this fight to be a lot harder than Koga. Kadabra goes down in one hit to Fearow's Drill Peck, and Mr. Mime barely hangs on. Does get a barrier off, but it's not enough. I decide to get a bit cheeky with the Venom off and start using Agility, thinking that because of Badge Boost, I can outspeed and get a bigger hit on Alakazam next. It's risky though, and I take a few Side Beams from Venomoth. I now have a decision to make against Alakazam. I will definitely outspeed it, but a Psychic here will knock out Fearow. I decide to risk it and go for Drill Peck, and thankfully it does pay off. I have no idea if the Badge Boost made a difference here, but I'm going to assume it did. The level cap here increases to 47, but I don't bother leveling up any of my Pokemon to it. In classic Blaine fashion, he decides to use a Super Potion at full health. Generation 1 never fails to impress. Graveler uses Earthquake and Growlithe goes down. Ponyta goes for Tail Whip, which does lower my defense, but it's not a worry at all, and another Earthquake knocks it out. Rapidash uses Fire Spin, which is just a trolly fire type rap, but thankfully it misses, and another Earthquake is more than enough to take it out. A weak Ember from Arcanine doesn't do much, and an Earthquake knocks it out too. Again, against Giovanni, I don't bother leveling up to the cap, which is now set at 50. Blastoise is more than powerful enough as it is at level 48, and takes out Rhyhorn in one hit. Dugtrio does outspeed us, but Giovanni goes for a guard spec. It makes no difference though, and Surf here is just too strong. The rest of the battle is pretty pedestrian, with Surf and Blastoise knocking out the rest of his Pokemon in one hit. I'm disappointed to be honest with the last 4 gym leaders. Most of their Pokemon have been swept aside in only one move by one of my Pokemon. I'm now hoping with the steep jumps in level to the Elite Four, that this will quickly change. I head straight to the last rival battle, and again the Graveler Rock Throw Lottery versus Pidgeot begins. Pidgeot goes for agility, which is pointless as it was already outspeeding anyway, and it seems my luck has completely flipped from the start of the game, and Graveler hits a Rock Throw. Pidgeot goes for another pointless agility, and we get an actual back-to-back Rock Throw hit. Rhyhorn literally can't do anything, so I get a free switch into Blastoise. It does go for Stomp though, but it does basically no damage. I still have no answer for Gyarados, so I stick with Blastoise. Can't really do much to it in return. I'm unsure if Bite or Surf is doing more damage, so I end up just using both. Gyarados' best attack against us is Dragon Rage, which will always do 40 damage. It means we can stay in knowing exactly how much damage it's going to do, and eventually Blastoise knocks it out. Growlithe comes out next, and as we already know, it can't touch Blastoise, and it doesn't even get the chance to. Super effective Surf takes it out in one hit. Alakazam is a lot scarier though. It's fast with high special, and will likely take out Blastoise here. I switch to the dependable Fearow, and Alakazam goes for Reflect. This is going to make Drill Peck do a lot less damage, but it still does about half. It goes for Recover, which heals it back to full. Alakazam finally attacks, and you can see just how much Psychic is doing here, but thankfully, the rival messed about so much before attacking that we can finish it off before it can do any real damage. I don't want to leave Fearow out here and risk losing it, so I switch to Haunter. Venusaur will constantly get crits with Razor Leaf, but with Haunter's poison typing, it shouldn't do a whole lot. We hit Venusaur with 2 Psychics and it goes down easily. This fight went reasonably well. It's a bit of a dress rehearsal for the champion battle, and I can see we're definitely going to struggle against Gyarados and possibly Alakazam. I head back to Celadon to get the Eevee. I buy a Thunderstone and evolve it into Jolteon. This will hopefully be our counter to the champion's Gyarados, and also Lance's. Whilst I'm here, I get a Firestone to evolve Growlithe into Arcanine, now that it's level 50 and gets Flamethrower, an actually useful fire type attack. The level cap for the Elite Four is 62, which is based on the last member's ace. In this case, Lance's Dragonite. I only level up to 56 here though, which is the same level as Lorelei's ace, Lapras. With how easy the second half of the gym challenge was, I don't want to be a full 6 levels clear of Lorelei. I lead Jolteon against Lorelei's Dugong. Jolteon is super fast and has a good special, so I'm expecting to get through both Dugong and Cloyster with little trouble, which is exactly what happens. Slowbro I expect to survive a hit, but it too goes down in one hit, with no crit, which is really surprising to me. I contemplate switching to Arcanine against Jinx, but stick with Jolteon. Thunderbolt doesn't quite knock it out, which I expected, but I do paralyze it. Jinx goes for a body slam and returns the paralysis. The next turn I end up paralyzed, and Jinx gets off a 5-hit double slap. Jolteon uses Thunderbolt again, and Jinx goes down. Against Lapras I switch to Haunter as I'm worried about Jolteon getting hit by a Blizzard or a Hydro Pump. Lapras goes for Confuse Ray though, so I switch to Blastoise, but again it goes for Confuse Ray. I go back to Haunter and it hits me with Confuse Ray again. I swear Lorelei is trolling me right now. I go back to Blastoise and it gets hit with Body Slam and I go for Bite. Another Confuse Ray and I switch back to Haunter, which again gets hit with Confuse Ray. This is really starting to annoy me. I don't want to attack whilst confused, and Blastoise ends up getting paralyzed on a body slam. I realize this is not going to go well as another Confuse Ray comes in, and thankfully Blastoise hits through the Parafusion. I go back to Haunter, and even with the confusion, I just start attacking Lapras with Psychic. I hit through the confusion and I get the special drop. Lapras goes for Confuse Ray again. It must be thinking that Ghost is super effective against Haunter. Haunter hits through confusion again and Psychic almost takes it out. I get another special drop and Lorelei uses a retroactive super potion. We don't hit ourselves in confusion again and knock it out. Lapras was a bit annoying, but I'm happy to get through with no casualties. Bruno is normally the easiest Elite Four member and I've got a couple of good options against his team. I end up leading Blastoise and just start surfing. Onix, Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee, and the second Onix go down in one surf. The champ is a much higher level though, and I expect it to hit hard. Bruno starts throwing though. The champ goes for Focus Energy, which does nothing. Another surf, and Bruno uses X Defend. One more surf finishes it off, and that's a damageless Bruno fight. What a joke. Agatha's team is the main reason I taught Haunter Psychic. Even though she's meant to be the Ghost Trainer, her whole team is actually Poison type. Haunter ends up outspeeding her Gengar and Psychic isn't quite a one-hit KO. It goes for Hypnosis but it fails, which is really good. I end up misclicking though and choose Hypnosis myself, which fails, and Gengar's Hypnosis does land. The good news is I do have a backup option in Graveler, so I switched to it. Luckily Gengar's Hypnosis fails and we hit Earthquake, finally knocking it out. Graveler is really slow, so Golbat hits us with Confuse Ray and we hit ourselves in Confusion. Wing Attack does nothing, but it's just a one-turn Confusion and we do manage to hit Rock Throw. Supersonic fails and I pick Strength due to its 100% accuracy. And Haunter comes out next going for Hypnosis. Again, Thankfully it fails and we knock it out with Earthquake. Our own Haunter falling asleep early has meant we are skating through at the moment on luck. Arbok can really only troll us by paralysing us using Glare. It goes for Screech though, which fails, and Earthquake takes it out in one hit. Finally we are on to the last Gengar. It doesn't have Hypnosis, but it does have Toxic. It goes for Dream Eater, which obviously does nothing as we aren't asleep, and one more Earthquake is all that's needed. With this we are through the most luck-based Elite Four member, still with 0 casualties. Lance leads with Gyarados, which has been the Pokemon we've most struggled against with the rival. We now have Jolteon though, and we get a Gen 1 miss first turn, but Gyarados uses Leer. Thunderbolt hits second time round, and we get rid of the pesky Gyarados. I decided to set up an agility here on Dragonair, which at the time I thought was a great idea, but halfway through the fight I realised was a complete waste of time. Yes, we were getting badge boosts, but we have a part poison type Haunter in the back, so Thunderbolt doesn't quite knock out Dragonair, but we do get a paralysis on it, and Lance goes for a retroactive Hyper Potion. I switch to Blastoise, which has Ice Beam, and gets hit by a Dragon Rage. It's going to take 2 Ice Beams to knock out Dragonair. Slam crits, and the second Ice Beam takes it down. Blastoise gets an Ice Beam crit on the second Dragonair, which definitely made a difference here, as we know it should have been a 2-hit KO. Against Aerodactyl, I decide to switch my brain on and go to Haunter. Aerodactyl is very fast, but it only knows 3 normal type attacking moves, which can't hit Haunter. Psychic isn't quite doing half, but we do get an all-important special drop. A second Psychic will now knock it out, and it does. Dragonite is another Pokemon that's no threat to Haunter. Its only attacking moves are Hyper Beam and Slam, which can't hit Haunter. I start off using Psychic, but Haunter isn't doing enough damage, and I become aware of Psychic's PP being quite low. I use Hypnosis, but its low accuracy means I don't put Dragonite to sleep until the 3rd attempt. I start spamming Dream Eater, which is slowly chipping away its health. Lance uses a Hyper Potion, prolonging the inevitable. Haunter keeps chipping away though, and we are just 1 hit away from knocking Dragonite out when it wakes up, so I switch to Psychic, and it's over. The level cap here rises to 65. I don't think it makes any sense to use my rare candies to go any higher than 60, which is still 2 levels below the cap for the Elite Four members. I'm pretty confident going into the champion battle that this is going to go very smoothly. Having my full team available means I can make safe switches through sacrifices if I need to. For a change, I lead Jolteon into Pidgeot. I'm so done with Rock Throw at this point. Thunderbolt takes out in 1 hit, and out comes Alakazam. I go for a Thunder Wave to start, which will slow Alakazam down and hopefully keep it from attacking every turn. Alakazam ends up paralysed, and Bite causes a flinch on the very next turn. Alakazam uses Recover next, which is annoying, so I go for Agility to set up a badge boost to help do more damage. It hits back with a crit Psybeam. I really shouldn't be risking Jolteon here, and I don't get punished, hitting a crit Bite, and Alakazam gets paralysed in return. One more Bite here takes it down, and we are on to Rhydon. I switch to Blastoise, and unsurprisingly I go for Surf, and it's a 1-hit KO. Since I decided to take on Alakazam with Jolteon, I go to Fearow against Gyarados instead. It uses Dragon Rage, which is okay. I then use Drill Peck, which doesn't quite do half, and in return Fearow gets smashed by a Hydro Pump. It comes very close to being knocked out, but hangs on. I expect Fearow to go down this turn, which is fine. It'll give me a free switch to Jolteon, but Gyarados goes for Leer, giving us a badge boost, and Drill Peck knocks it out. I'm now seeing a flawless Elite Four run as possible, so I switch into Blastoise and Arcanine goes for Leer. There isn't much Arcanine can do against us, and I go for Surf. Surprisingly, even with the badge boost from Leer, it's not a 1-hit KO. But all Arcanine does is go for Leer again. We knock it out with Surf. Venusaur is now the only Pokemon between us and becoming champion. I think about switching to Haunter, but I go to Arcanine instead. It's the only Pokemon I've not used yet in this Elite Four run, and I did eventually get Flamethrower. Venusaur charges up this turn, preparing it for a Solar Beam. I outspeed and use Flamethrower, which isn't quite enough to take it out. Solar Beam comes in and crits, almost taking out Arcanine in 1 hit. But we outspeed, and 1 more Flamethrower is all we need to beat the rival and become champions after a flawless run through the Elite Four. I set out on this run to find out if Generation 1 is worth Nuzlocking. I think the answer to that is definitely no. I really enjoyed this playthrough, but it's way too easy and there's a lot of obvious issues in Gen 1. The AI just makes awful decisions, the movesets are terrible, and my Pokemon just seem to always take out the opponent's Pokemon in 1 or 2 hits. It could be worth Nuzlocking though if you're after a nostalgia hit, or if you add additional rules like only using bad Pokemon and further lowering the level cap, then it could be more of a challenge. I'm going to move on to Hardcore Nuzlocke Pokemon Crystal next, so if you're interested in being the first to see that, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.